I'm Spencer Thomason, and here at StartupHakk, we love to train software developers and build custom software solutions. So I do a lot of work as a fractional CTO. With over a decade of executive leadership and a solid 25 years in software development, I've mastered the art of transforming technology teams and products. So in a world obsessed with the latest and greatest and shiny objects, it's easy to get distracted by the shiny new tech on the market. Here's a little secret: the best technologies for your business and kind of in your life might just be the most boring. Why? Because boring technology is usually reliable, well understood, and battle tested. Let's dive into this a little bit, because this isn't always a popular opinion, but really with 25 years of experience, I'm telling you, this is really the way to go. And let's jump into the subject. All right, so let's dive into this subject here, because I'm telling you, with my experience, like one of the things that my wife always tells my kids, especially my daughters, date somebody date a nerd. Like, they may not be that sexy or that but date a nerd. You'll never regret it. And that's really true for her, but it's also true in how you pick technology for your business. So it's not about being flashy, it's about getting the job done efficiently and effectively. When you're building something that needs to last, choosing the tried and true can save you from countless headaches down the line. Now, there's a reason why seasoned developers often stick to what works. When you choose boring technology, you're not just picking something that's reliable, you're picking something that just has stood the test of time. This tech has been debugged, documented, and deployed in real-world scenarios, meaning fewer surprises and smoother operations. It's like a hammer over the latest multi-tool. It might not have all the bells and whistles, but it's perfect for driving a nail. In development, sometimes simplicity, and I would say oftentimes simplicity, is the ultimate sophistication. I love, let me see if I can, there's a quote from, I just blanked on his name, one of the founders of GNU, who says that Linux is glorious in its simplicity, or complex in its simplicity. Now, I'm not saying you should never innovate or experiment with new technologies. Far from it. You should always be trying out and testing new technologies. But there's a balance to be struck here between innovation and practicality. So the key is to know when to adopt something new and when to stick with what's proven. Just because something is new does not mean it's better for your specific use case. Remember, your goal isn't always to be cutting edge just for the sake of it. It's to build something that works and keeps working. So also make sure you go back and check out our previous coding videos, because we have hundreds of coding samples on proven, boring technologies, but that help you to get started on stuff like WebSockets with C#, or basic APIs, or whatever the topic is. We literally have all of it. There's over 500 free coding samples out there, because here at StartupHakk, we love training software developers. Now, one of the biggest advantages of boring technologies is there's a huge amount of community support that comes with it. So popular established technologies have large communities, extensive documentation, and plenty of resources to help you out when you hit a snag. That's part of the reason why, and this isn't always a popular opinion, but here we use Angular in most of our projects, because React has a lot of new shiny things, and React's getting old and proven out at this point. But at the point that we really chose to go down the path to Angular in the earlier days, part of it was because it was backed by Google, who really had thrown a lot of resources, documentation, and like a lot of backing to it. So just like this means that you're not reinventing the wheel every time you run into a problem. Chances are someone else has already solved it. This kind of support can save you time, money, and a ton of frustration. So in contrast, the latest trendy tech might leave you stuck without a lifeline when things go wrong. So stability is another huge key factor in this. New technologies are often evolving, which can mean bugs, incomplete features, and unexpected behavior. When you choose a boring technology, you're opting for something stable, predictable, and less likely to throw a wrench into your plans. So this is especially important when you're working on a mission-critical project where downtime or unexpected issues can be costly. In the world of development, boring often equals stable, and stable is exactly what you want. Now, I get a lot of times you're trying to do cutting-edge things, and it doesn't mean you can't use boring technology to do cutting-edge things. We've done some pretty amazing things, and when we first started CleanRouter, I used a lot of boring technology to really try to hit to a lot of this. And so the boring technology and the boring choice a lot of times is really proves in the long run. So cost effectiveness is another huge win for boring technology. With newer tech, you often have to pay a premium, whether it's in terms of licensing or the learning curve or ongoing maintenance, because maybe it was just the latest release and it has a quick upgrade because there was a lot of bugs. Established technology, on the other hand, tends to be cheaper and more accessible. You can find plenty of developers who are already familiar with it, meaning you don't have to invest in much as training and recruiting. Plus, the operation costs are often lower as these technologies are optimized and well supported. So by choosing boring tech, you're not just saving yourself from headaches, you're also saving yourself a ton of money. Now, you can also save yourself a ton of money by going back and checking out our coding samples, because we really love to train software developers here at StartupHakk. So let's talk about the speed of implementation. So boring technology, because it's well understood and documented, allows you to move faster. There's no need to spend months learning the ins and outs of a brand new framework or tool. You can get straight to work building and deploying your solutions. This speed can be a huge competitive advantage, allowing you to bring products to market faster than those who are bogged down in the complexities of the latest tech. So in business, time is money, and boring technology often gets you to where you need to go quicker. I tell my developers all the time, done is better than perfect. And sometimes perfect might seem like the sexy new late tool, but done can mean like, man, hey, I just rewrote this code, a year ago. I know it's been running in production for a year, then go reuse it, right? So one of the most overlooked benefits of boring technology is in the ease of hiring. If you're using established tech, it's much easier to find developers with the right skill set. You don't have to search high and low for someone who's familiar with this latest cutting-edge tool, because your boring technology has been around long enough that plenty of people know how to use it. This can make scaling your team faster and more efficient. Plus, it reduces the risk that your project will grind to a halt if key developers leaves, as replacements are easier to find. Now, there's also a psychological benefit to choosing boring technology. It reduces stress. With new tech, there's always the fear that something will go wrong, lingering in the back of your mind, that it'll hit you with unexpected roadblocks when you least expect it, or that tech will become obsolete before you've even finished the project, right? How often have we seen new shiny thing pop up and then be proven that it's crap and get thrown out, right? Like that happens fairly frequently. So boring tech, by contrast, offers peace of mind. You can focus on building great products without constantly worrying about whether your tools will hold up. So in the fast-paced world of development, that kind of reliability is invaluable. So in conclusion, boring technology might not sound super exciting, but I promise you it's often the smartest decision you can make. It's about picking tools that are reliable, well-supported, and cost-effective, allowing you to focus on what really matters, delivering value to your users. By resisting the temptation to chase after every new trend, you're setting yourself up for long-term success. So the next time you're faced with technology choice, remember, boring might just be the best option. So I'm going to put this into kind of a human terms here. Let's say you were going to go find somebody for your team, right? There's advantages to grabbing that new kid out of college, right? He might be young, he might be spry, he may have a lot of great ideas. Or do you pick that seasoned developer who's been around the block, doing this technology for 10 years? Now think about that. Let's say they were the same cost, okay? Which one would you pick? Well, I think 9 times out of 10, you're going to pick the seasoned developer of 10 years. That's like picking the boring technology, right? So choosing boring technology might not be glamorous, but it is reliable, it's stable, and it's cost effective. So everything you need to build a successful product. Here at StartupHakk, we love to build successful products for people. We help companies build good, solid software for their company to help them move quickly and avoid unnecessary risks. So you want to focus on delivering value to your users. And if it's well supported, easy to implement, and gives you peace of mind, man, I'd always stick to the boring technology every time. So in a world that's constantly chasing the next big thing, the best choice is to stick with what works. So what are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Here at StartupHakk, we love to train software developers, but I found this article that kind of stumbled me onto this, that made me kind of think about this a little bit. I'm going to share my screen here really quick. And this is by Dan McKinley, and I'll share the link down below in the comments. But he says, probably the single best thing that happened to me in my career was having placed in charge of me. I stuck around long enough to see, I learned a great deal from this, but I also learned a great deal of results. So he says, let's every company get about 3 innovation. Let's say every company gets about 3 innovation tokens. You can spend these however you want, but the supply is fixed for a long time, for a long while. You might get a few after you leave. If you choose to write your website in Node, you spent 1 of your innovation tokens. And I like that because I think Node.js is one of these ones that's proven to not be all that great of technology. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for that, but go pick Java or .NET. Obviously, I'm a big fan of .NET, but if you choose to use service discovery tech that's expensive for a year or less, you just spent 1 of your innovation tokens. So he goes on to kind of say, so what counts as boring? This is a little tricky. Boring should not be conflated with bad. And I agree with that. That's not necessarily what I'm saying here. There is technology out there that is boring and bad. Like, let's talk about like trying to write your website in assembly or something. That would be a terrible idea. You should not use any of that. But there are many choices of technology that are boring and good, or at least good enough. MySQL is boring. Postgres is boring. PHP is boring. Python is boring. Memcached is boring. Squid is boring, right? You can see these really common use things. At Clean Router, one of the things that we notice, and I notice he says cron is boring. You know, Clean Router was largely built off of Bash, which we wrote using a lot of oxed grep and a lot of cron jobs, right? A lot of very boring stuff that added up together to make a very innovative product. And so I really liked this, and as I stumbled into this, I read a couple of other things. There's also another one that talks about the boring technology group, and I think that ultimately, I'd be curious to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you think? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think that boring is bad? We should always be picking the latest shiny object. I really think that over time, as we choose boring, we're going to be happier in the long run. So, what are your guys' thoughts? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Please make sure to leave a comment. Here at StartupHakk, we love to train software developers in our coding bootcamp and to build custom software solutions. So reach out because we'd love to help. Hit the link down below. Check out StartupHakk.com, and also make sure you go back and check out our previous videos because we provide hundreds of coding tutorials of boring technology, but ones that can really prove to help you with your business. So we'll catch you guys next time. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel because we bring you lots of great tutorials and tips that every developer should know. See you next time.